Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Meet the Candidates, Meet the Adams County Sheriff's Candidates, to be more exact. Here we're at Manchester High School. I'm Don Bowles, and if you're watching us, you're on Good Guys Radio TV, of course. And, of course, if you're listening to C103 and hearing our broadcast, you can obviously stop and tune into goodguysradiotv.com if you'd rather watch tonight's event. This event was organized by the Adams County Fraternal Order of Police, which is made up of current Adams County Sheriff's employees. The questions were created by the Fraternal Order of Police with input from the Adams County constituency. There are 5 of the 6 candidates running in the primary on March 19th here tonight and participating in our forum. They are all running as Republicans. And since there are no Democratic candidates outside a possible write-in in the general election, the next Adams County Sheriff will effectively be elected March 19th, which makes the election and the primary election March 19th even that much more critical. For each candidate will be given 3 minutes tonight to introduce themselves, and then after that, they will each be given 5 questions, one at a time. Each one of those questions will be different. They will have 2 minutes to answer each one of those after their 3-minute introduction. At the conclusion of tonight's question and answer session, they will have 3 minutes to do closing remarks. And the order in which they appear was determined earlier by a random drawing, and the FOP is providing a timekeeper who will remind the candidates when they have 30 seconds left and when they have 10 seconds and when their time is up. And we will soon have that, but first we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with our first introduction right after this on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
Hi, I'm Bob Rebush. Currently, I'm second in charge at the Adams County Sheriff's Office. I have 50 years of experience in law enforcement. During my career with Cincinnati, I worked in all the highest crime neighborhoods, 16 years in various drug units, and 21 years as a supervisor. As sheriff, I will use my leadership experience to ensure Adams County is a safe place for your family and mine. Please vote Bob Rebush on March 19th, 2024, paid for by Bob Rebush.
Hi, this is Donnie Edgington, Republican candidate for Adams County Sheriff in the March 2024 primary. As a lifelong resident of Adams County, I'm deeply rooted in the community, and I've worn the uniform of a law enforcement officer for well over 3 decades. I'm asking for your vote so that together we can bring about the changes to make Adams County a safer place. Safety isn't just a priority for me, it's a heartfelt commitment.
Paid for by a friend of Donnie Edgington.
I'm Gina Collinsworth. I'm running for state representative because Southern Ohio needs a voice that will fight for us in Columbus. I will stand up for conservative values, stand up for life, protect the Second Amendment, and reduce taxes. We must fight liberal special interests and politicians that are making it harder for families to make a living and pay our bills. I'm Gina Collinsworth, Christian conservative, lifelong resident of Southern Ohio, and I'm asking for your vote on March 19th in the Republican primary, paid for by the committee to elect Gina Collinsworth.
For the past 25 years, my father, Kenny Dick, has put his heart and soul into protecting my family and yours in our local area. He has been a chief prosecuting investigator, Adams County deputy sheriff, and has been trained by the FBI Academy to prosecute the individuals who hurt the children of our community. Vote my dad
And my grandpa.
Kenny Dick in the March 19th primary election.
Paid for by Elect Kenny Dick for Sheriff.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our Meet the Adams County Sheriff's Candidates Night here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV. I'm Don Bowles once again. As I iterated briefly before our first break here, each one of the candidates is going to be given 3 minutes to introduce themselves. They will do it in the order by which they were chosen randomly before our event. And first up is Mr. Kenny Dick. Kenny?
Good evening. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kenny Dick. And I began my law enforcement career approximately 28 years ago when I was certified as a special deputy with the Adams County Sheriff's Office. On September the 2nd of 1998, I was hired as the investigator for the prosecutor's office here in Adams County, a job that I still hold today after 25 years. On January the 1st of 2001, I accepted an additional position as the investigator for the coroner's office here in Adams County and have so faithfully served this duty for 23 years. While working these 2 jobs, I went to college and graduated summa cum laude from Ohio University with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. In December 2020, I started working as a road deputy with the Adams County Sheriff's Office because I wanted to see firsthand and experience what the deputies go through on a daily basis. These men and women, they perform impossible duties in impossible situations, but they do it quite well. I wanted to understand more, so in 2011, I was the main investigator for all crimes against children here in Adams County, a job that I have faithfully served and dutifully performed to hold those accountable who harm our children. In 2002, I became a certified polygraph examiner and have conducted over 700 examinations in criminals and as well as civil prosecutions. I've been certified as an expert witness in 3 separate counties in criminal proceedings. Although I was maintain a strong force into the academy as well as through our office, in my off time, I always like to give back to the community. So I was, for my spare time, I've coached high school baseball at People's High School for approximately 8 years. I have been a Little League umpire for over 30 years. And I have faithfully and had the privilege of being the first elder of our church. I'm an Eagle Scout. And I have been the father of 3 beautiful girls who I've grown and raised here in our community. I have had the privilege of, through my law enforcement career, to receive training from some of the most qualified individuals in their field. I have completed training at the FBI Academy and been certified in the investigations of child abuse as well as the exploitation of children. I will extend all of my credentials and knowledge and experience to the Sheriff's Office and look for your vote to be the next Sheriff of Adams County. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kenny Dick. Candidate number 2 in the order tonight is Mr. Mike Estep. Let's welcome Mike to the podium.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Estep, and I started my career in 1986 with People's Police Department as a patrolman. Worked there till August of '87 and moved to the Adams County Sheriff's Office, where I became a special up until 2001. I've done numerous things in the field of being a deputy. I've been a canine handler. I've been a meth lab technician, and I've also become a road patrol sergeant, and also I was 911 coordinator for a period of 5 years. I have a total of 39 years in public safety, 39 years in the fire service, 37 years in law enforcement, and with 23 years as a fire chief, and then 10 years of that in the sheriff's office as a road patrol sergeant. I have had many good finds as a canine handler. My job was to find suspects, fleeing suspects, and also missing children, and with some good success and finds of that. Many meth labs that I've helped break down over the years, and with good convictions out of the arrest that was made. And as a road patrol sergeant, I've supervised all the 911 center and done all the complete operations of management for his equipment, employees, training, budgets, and I have to think that, you know, my time being at the sheriff's office, I've made lots of changes of making the department better by getting grants, supporting the employees with the retention bonuses, as well as radio equipment for the 911 center, the road patrol division, and trying to make it at its best. And I'd like to think that, you know, I'd be a good candidate for Adams County Sheriff. And I will work hard and continue to work hard for not only the people out in the community, but as well as employees of the agency.
Thank you. Once again, Mike Estep. Thank you, Mike. The third candidate you'll hear from tonight as he introduces himself, Mr. Bob Rebush. Bob?
Hello, my name's Bob Rebush. I'm the Chief Deputy for Adams County. I've been in that role for about a year now. My history in policing goes back a long time. I started in '73, right out of high school. I started with the Cincinnati Police Department as a cadet. They put me through college as a co-op for the police department. In uniform in Cincinnati, I spent all my time in the worst neighborhoods, over the Rhine and Avondale. I had a chance to work undercover in drugs. I spent 6 years in a major drug unit. We did countywide drugs and major cases for Hamilton County. After the 6 years I was in that unit, I was promoted to sergeant. So I spent 21 years as a supervisor for Cincinnati. I supervised both in Avondale and Over the Rhine. While I was in Over the Rhine, it was considered the worst neighborhood in the United States. We actually had a riot down there. I was the night shift commander at that time. It was quite an ordeal, like pretty much nothing you've ever been to unless you've been in a war. After that riot, I was selected to go to the FBI National Academy. It's a 10-week course. It's an international course. Officers from all over the world go to that course. It's to help make you a better supervisor. So it was quite an honor to attend that. I'm also a graduate of the DEA school. I was #1 in my class at that. I went on to manage what they called the Street Corner Unit, which was a drug unit that was dedicated to just fighting crack cocaine. And I was in that unit for 6 years. I supervised that unit. The first year, we made 4,000 arrests. I've been involved in thousands of drug arrests. I've been involved in hundreds and hundreds of search warrants. I've made hundreds and hundreds of undercover buys. So I know drugs very well. 16 years dedicated just to drugs. At the end of my career in Cincinnati, I was the vice squad commander. I was in charge of an awful lot there. But right now, I'm the chief deputy. I got to that position because about 15 years ago, or 10 years ago, I guess it was, Sheriff Rogers asked me to be the food stamp fraud investigator for the county. I did that, retired a little bit, did some detective work for him, and then became the chief deputy. And I'm very honored to be in that role. And I appreciate Sheriff Rogers mentoring me. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Rebush. Now, the fourth candidate we'll introduce you to is Mr. Donnie Edgington. Donnie?
I'm Donnie Edgington. I'm a proud Christian, husband to beautiful wife Stephanie. We were blessed with 2 children, Brittany and Brooke, 6 grandchildren, and I've been a registered Republican since 1981. I'm deeply rooted in the community and this county. There's been an Edgington in Adams County since it was known as a Virginia military district. We go way back in this county. I love this county. I joined the Ohio State Highway Patrol in 1989, and my first service in public service was with the West Union Fire Department in 1982. I've had 4 decades invested in protecting the people of Southern Ohio and Adams County. The Ohio State Highway Patrol took me to every corner of this state at times. And it was a job that I dearly loved, and it taught me many things. I'm now the chief of police at Winchester Police Department. Got there in 2018. So my law enforcement career is 1989 to 2017. I was with the Ohio State Highway Patrol. I received proficiency awards in drug interdiction and in auto larceny. I served a very brief stint with the Adams County Sheriff's Department, and then in 2018, June of 2018, I became the chief of police in Winchester. I will work as hard as I can and dedicate myself, if I'm elected your sheriff, to protecting our communities, our families. I'll do the best job that I can. Thank you.
Once again, thank you, Donnie. That was Donnie Edgington. Our fifth candidate that you will meet tonight is Mr. Sean Cooley. Sean?
Don, thank you. I'd also like to thank the FFP for putting on this event tonight. My name is Sean Cooley. I have over 41 years of law enforcement experience. I'm also was chief of police as well as a small business owner. Handler for 9 years, where I handled the Sheriff's Department's patrol and drug canine. During the height of the methamphetamine pandemic, I became a clandestine lab specialist, and along with Sergeant Estep and a few other deputies, we were able to eradicate the methamphetamine labs from Adams County. I also worked as a commander for the Adams County Sheriff's Department Underwater Search and Rescue Team before being promoted to detective. As detective, I handled cases that ranged from petty thefts to major B&Es, burglaries, homicides, and double homicides. All the homicide cases, by the way, was with convictions of the offender. I was also the investigator and prosecuted serial killer Darrell Walters, who was later found to have killed several women in Soda and Adams County. Like I say, I've worked with the Sheriff's Department. I've been in law enforcement for 41 years. If elected your sheriff, I will do everything I can to keep Adams County safe, keep our children safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Cooley. At this time, we're going to take a break very quickly. We'll take a brief break. When we come back, we'll have a series of questions for all the candidates. Once again, folks, if you get anything out of tonight, please remember the primary election is March 19th. I'm going to repeat this several times throughout the evening because it's very, very critical. We were talking in our office today. You really don't have a basis for much criticism if you don't vote. We really need you to go out and make a selection. Listen to these candidates, listen to their qualifications as they ask you for your vote, and so you can make a good decision. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back after this on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
Elect Sam Purdon as Adams County Sheriff. Sam has spent 23 years in law enforcement, serving as a patrolman, chief of police for Peebles, as well as deputy, lieutenant, and detective for the Adams County Sheriff's Office. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan as an international police advisor and was honored to serve in the United States Navy Reserve. He now serves as a special deputy U.S. Marshal. Sam successfully owns and operates his own local business and plans to be a sheriff for the people.
This ad is paid for by candidate Sam Purdon.
Hello, my name is Sean Cooley, Republican candidate for Adams County Sheriff. With over 40 years of law enforcement experience serving and protecting the citizens of Adams County, I will make it my top priority to make Adams County a safer community for your family and mine. One of my many goals is to combat the drug epidemic that is leading to the high crime rate throughout our county. With my experience and training, I know I'll make a difference. I'm asking for your support in the March 19th, 2024 primary. Thank you.
You've been listening to us for years.
Shot up by for three. It's up and in.
Now it's time to watch.
I can save!
Good Guys Radio TV is here with live video coverage of everything happening in our area. Local sports.
And this one is a hard shot out to left field.
Local events.
Hey, this is Braden hanging out with you.
It's all on GoodGuysRadioTV.com. That's GoodGuysRadioTV.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Rebush. Currently, I'm second in charge at the Adams County Sheriff's Office. I have 50 years of experience in law enforcement. During my career with Cincinnati, I worked in all the highest crime neighborhoods, 16 years in various drug units, and 21 years as a supervisor. As sheriff, I will use my leadership experience to ensure Adams County is a safe place for your family and mine. Please vote Bob Rebush on March 19th, 2024. Paid for by Bob Rebush.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to our Meet the Adams County Sheriff's Candidates here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV. I'm Don Bowles. Once again, I'm the moderator for this evening. We've now moved to the question and answer session of our evening. Each candidate will step to the podium. We will ask them a question. They'll have 2 minutes to answer that. After that, they'll take a seat, and the next candidate will step forward and answer a different question. I was asked earlier today also, well, what if somebody wants to answer the same question? That's why we'll have a 3-minute time at the end of the evening at which they can address any of the other questions that they were not asked at that point, as they will give their last opportunity to talk to you for tonight. First up, as again, we'll do this in random order, starting up next is Mr. Mike Estep.
Thanks, Don.
Mike, your question. What qualifications do you have to hold the position of sheriff? What qualifications do you have to hold the position of sheriff?
I'm a road patrol supervisor and have been for the past 9 years, working nearly 10 years in supervision. You have to be 2 years of either college degree or 2 years in supervision of a sergeant and above.
Okay, thank you. Is that it? Thank you. All right, next up, Bob Rebush. And again, clarification, they're allowed up to 2 minutes. If they require less than that, that is their option. So it's not necessarily going to go the full length of time. Bob, what do you think is the biggest problem plaguing law enforcement at this time? What do you think is the biggest problem plaguing law enforcement at this time?
Well, one of the biggest problems is retention of manpower and getting police officers. It's a problem throughout the whole United States. Every department wants more police officers, and we do at Adams County. We're short a couple. We're doing everything we can to hire some, but it's a constant struggle. Keeping police officers is also a constant struggle. We need to pay them more. It really helps if the community pats them on the back when they do something good. I'll always support the police. We're doing a few things right now to try to recruit some folks. We've got a couple people that are in the academy right now that I'm hoping will make it into our ranks very shortly. But manpower levels are really a very difficult thing for us to maintain. One of the things we definitely need to do is pay our officers more, give them better benefits, and give them the respect they deserve. A lot of times we get the media, it seems like they're against the police, but the police officers do a very honorable job, and I'm glad to be a police officer. I love to be a police officer here in Adams County. I think this community supports us more than a lot of communities, and I think our officers do a great job. And I always try to reinforce that with our officers, that they're doing a good job, because I think that's one of the things that helps retain our officers.
Okay, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Rebush. Next up with a question would be Mr. Donnie Edgington. Donnie, how will you combat the drug epidemic? How will you combat the drug epidemic?
Before we can talk about combating the drug epidemic, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to get more officers. We can say that we're going to have a drug coalition. We can say that we're going to have this task force and that task force. If you don't have the personnel to put into those positions, you're not going to be able to get the boots on the ground to do what you need to do. The one thing that I would like to do, about 4 weeks ago or so, I started gathering information of how to obtain a police academy here in our county. Right now we're sending people out of the county to go into other counties, and we also have instructors who are qualified here. We can have a police academy right here, start home growing our own officers, get into the schools, let them know that it's a good career. We can build our police up right here, not just at the county level, but at the level with the villages and local governments. Once we get that in place, then we can start talking about the task force, the being proactive instead of reactive. We need to go after the problems. The homeless that
we have in this county. It brings with it a drug problem. The drug problem brings homeless, likewise. So we need to identify where those drugs are coming from, and we need to be proactive and go after it, not just sit back and wait till we're told to go somewhere, and go after the problem and identify it. Thank you.
Thank you. Donnie Edgington, ladies and gentlemen. Our next question is directed to Mr. Sean Cooley. Sean, will you advocate for your employees to ensure each department has safe and reliable equipment, increase training opportunities, and implement post-critical incident support? Will you advocate for your employees to ensure each department has safe and reliable equipment, increase training opportunities, and implement post-critical incident support?
Absolutely, and that's one of the issues with the Sheriff's Department. These young men and women are brought into the office. They receive very little, if any, continuing education or training. We need equipment to work with. We need I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. We have to send these people, the young people, like I said, to schooling, to training. When I first started the Sheriff's Department, we were constantly in some sort of training, whether it was methamphetamine labs, whether it was patrol, whether it was SRT training, and that is a big thing with the Sheriff's Department. It's going to have to be done.
Okay. Thank you. Once again, Mr. Sean Cooley. Our fifth candidate again for this series of questions is Mr. Kenny Dick. Kenny, what does the role of sheriff mean to you? What does the role of sheriff mean to you?
The sheriff is the people's voice in law enforcement. When I started at the prosecutor's office, the prosecutor hired me. At the coroner's office, the coroner hired me. But as sheriff, you're elected by the people. So the role of the sheriff is to serve the people in whatever capacity. The sheriff's role takes on many different ways. As a deputy, the sheriff's office, they enforce the law. Sometimes they're social workers. Other times they are first responders that go into a house or burning house just to help someone. So as a sheriff, your main role is to be the leader to all those. And we have great men and women in our department that do an excellent job. So I think the role as a sheriff is not only to serve the people in whatever capacity that they're able to do, but also to serve those that work for them. Because as the sheriff goes, so does the department. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, Mr. Kenny Dick. And at this point, we will take another quick break. We'll be right back after this on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
Hi, this is Donnie Edgington, Republican candidate for Adams County Sheriff in the March 2024 primary. As a lifelong resident of Adams County, I'm deeply rooted in the community, and I've worn the uniform of a law enforcement officer for well over 3 decades. I'm asking for your vote so that together we can bring about the changes to make Adams County a safer place. Safety isn't just a priority for me, it's a heartfelt commitment.
Paid for by a friend of Donnie Edgington.
I'm Gina Collinsworth. I'm running for state representative because Southern Ohio needs a voice that will fight for us in Columbus. I will stand up for conservative values, stand up for life, protect the Second Amendment, and reduce taxes. We must fight liberal special interest and politicians that are making it harder for families to make a living and pay our bills. I'm Gina Collinsworth, Christian conservative, lifelong resident of Southern Ohio, and I'm asking for your vote on March 19th in the Republican primary, paid for by the committee to elect Gina Collinsworth.
For the past 25 years, my father, Kenny Dick, has put his heart and soul into protecting my family and yours in our local area. He has been a chief prosecuting investigator, Adams County deputy sheriff, and has been trained by the FBI Academy to prosecute the individuals who hurt the children of our community. Vote my dad
And my grandpa.
Kenny Dick in the March 19th primary election.
Paid for by Elect Kenny Dick for Sheriff.
Elect Sam Purdon as Adams County Sheriff. Sam has spent 23 years in law enforcement, serving as a patrolman, chief of police for Peebles, as well as deputy, lieutenant, and detective for the Adams County Sheriff's Office. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan as an international police advisor and was honored to serve in the United States Navy Reserve. He now serves as a Special Deputy U.S. Marshal. Sam successfully owns and operates his own local business and plans to be a sheriff for the people.
This ad is paid for by candidate Sam Purden.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Don Bowles, and you're listening to C103, and you're watching Good Guys Radio TV. And we want to welcome all of you to our broadcast. This is our Meet the Candidates night. What candidates? It's the sheriff's candidates for Adams County. There are 5 of them present here tonight at Manchester High School, and we're asking them a series of questions. Each one of them, again, will be given a question. They'll have 2 minutes to answer that. Our candidate that is up now is Mr. Bob Rebush. Bob, in what ways would you make the Adams County Sheriff's Office a more rewarding place to work? In what ways would you make the Adams County Sheriff's Office a more rewarding place to work?
Well, one thing I'm trying to do is recognize good work that officers do. I've got a board out front of the office where I post every commendation of any of the officers, our dispatchers, even our jailers, for their good work. So recognition is very important to me. I always try to congratulate them when they do a good job. I try to follow everything they do, so I'm well aware of their what they're doing. I try to give them the training they need. One of the things we've been doing is some of the officers have been requesting training. We've been getting some. We've budgeted for it. I think that's an important thing to do. It's a little reward for them. So those are the types of things I'm doing. You know, we can't pay them more. It's all contractual, unfortunately. But I think recognizing the work they do is the best thing I can do.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bob Rebush. Next question goes to Mr. Donnie Edgington. Donnie, how would you describe your personal management style? How would you describe your personal management style?
My family ran a successful restaurant in this county for 30 years, and I was part of that. When I had employees, I would go straight to them and say, hey, this doesn't have to work for me, it has to work for you. And then if it works for you, and we're still getting the job done, and everything's moving the way we need it to, that would be the way that I would manage that. Now, as the chief of Winchester, I've only had 2 other officers there, but I always made sure that they had the best that we had to offer as far as vehicles. My officer had the newest vehicle. I made sure that he had what he needed. I would manage through the leadership I would show would be by example. To get out, work with the other officers, be with them, listen to what they have to say. We have 88 counties. If there's a problem, we need to find out what's working, what's not working. Someone in those other 88 counties that has had the same problem, and they've come up with a solution for that problem. I would contact them, work with them, and work with my employees to make it the best place that I could for them to have a successful career in law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, Donnie Edgington, ladies and gentlemen. Next candidate for this series, Mr. Sean Cooley. Sean, if elected, what goals do you have for the Adams County Sheriff's Office? If elected, what goals do you have for the Adams County Sheriff's Office?
Well, my first goal would be to make Adams County as safe a place as it can possibly be. It would be to combat the drug epidemic that plagues Adams County, and to make the Sheriff's Department a good environment for the deputies to work in.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Sean Cooley. Now, our question goes to Mr. Kenny Dick. Kenny, what do you feel are the biggest challenges facing the Adams County Sheriff's Office, and what ideas do you have to mitigate those challenges? What do you feel are the biggest challenges facing the Adams County Sheriff's Office, and what ideas do you have to mitigate those challenges?
I think as has been reiterated before, the challenge is to maintain deputies, maintain staff and personnel. I think to challenge that would be to offer more incentives to work, to offer more pay. I know that it's congressional that the salary is set, but in a way that we can work towards gaining more salary for them. Because we should be able to have a sheriff's office that if you have a young man that grows up in Adams County that wants to be in law enforcement, he should be able to stay in law enforcement here in Adams County, obtain a salary that's enough that he can raise a family, to grow up in this great county like I did, and not have to worry about traveling to maintain the lifestyle that he's able to have. So I think that the main thing that we need to do is listen to our deputies, listen to those who are coming in, listen if they have ideas, because we don't have all the answers, and maintain is that the answers come from other areas. So if we can get a challenge, we can overcome that challenge, and the sheriff's office will be a lot better if we have local men and women that know the county, know the people, and that the people can trust them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, Kenny Dick. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our question will be directed to Mr. Mike Estep. Mike, do you view the role of sheriff as a full-time position? Do you view the role of sheriff as a full-time position?
Yes, I do. I feel that it's more than a full-time job, and it takes someone to be very devoted to that position. The biggest thing I could find in a full-time role with that would be being out there with the people that you work with and working side by side with them. It's going to make things better with the role of a full-time sheriff.
Okay, thank you. Mike Estep. Okay. Once again, we'll welcome Bob Rebush to the podium. Bob, if elected, what goals do you have for the citizens of Adams County? If elected, what goals do you have for the citizens of Adams County?
Well, the goals for the citizens of Adams County. I'd like to have a better bonding between the citizens and our department. I'm all for doing everything we can to improve those relationships. One of the things that I will do is always make sure that we're responsive to your needs. So I'd like to have as much interaction between our officers and the community. I plan on personally attending every type of community meeting I can if I'm elected sheriff, so I'm constantly getting feedback from the community so that we can be responsive to them. As far as other goals for the county itself, I mean, I love the county. I think the people here are very generous. When anybody needs any help, including the police department, it seems like everybody steps up. They do a great job for the Shop with a Cop. That's a tremendous program. The community definitely participates in that. I'd like to see more participation in that. They do a great job participating with the Kids Boot Camp. We'll always keep that available. I'd like to expand that. The schools here do a wonderful job. And anything we can do to promote a better relationship between the two groups, our group as the police and the community, I'm all for it.
Once again, Bob Rebush. And again, back to the podium comes Donnie Edgington. Donnie, what ideas do you have to contend with the growing mental health and drug abuse crisis in our communities? What ideas do you have to contend with the growing mental health and drug abuse crisis in our communities?
We have worked with all law enforcement, really has spent time with the Adams County Regional Medical Center. We've had meetings over there. We've defined what we can and cannot do when we have someone go in there for a mental evaluation. One thing that I do believe that we haven't spent enough time on, even myself in my career, any training that I've ever received when it comes to handling people with autism, I've sought out on my own. That's one thing we need to have more of. That training needs to be brought to the forefront so we know how to deal with those who are autistic. The drug epidemic, again, like I said before, we have a problem with, well, these drug treatment facilities seem to pop up everywhere. With that comes homelessness. With that comes a drug problem, and vice versa. You know, if you think back to the time where we didn't have these treatment facilities, and I know I don't want to stand in the way of someone who actually needs this. There are people that go to these drug treatment facilities. It's needed. They complete it. They complete their treatment, and they prosper. But if you think back in Adams County's recent history, we didn't have the backpack walkers, and we didn't have the homeless, and we didn't have as bad of a drug problem as we have now. I'll stand up to these nonprofits that come into town and put these facilities up every place for profit.
Once again, thank you, Donnie. Donnie Edgington, folks. Now, our next question is directed to Mr. Sean Cooley. Sean, what are your views on community policing, and how could it be implemented in Adams County? What are your views on community policing, and how could it be implemented in Adams County?
Well, I think with Adams County, the best way to implement community policing is to hire local men and women that know the community, know the people. We need to start an aggressive recruitment program with our high schools and the college to try to get these young people that's from Adams County to come here and work with the Sheriff's Department. Right now, we're relying on people from Claremont, Highland, Brown, Soda counties. They get here, they get their feet wet, get just a little bit of training, and they're off for a better paying job. So I think as far as community policing is concerned, that's going to be with people that know the people of Adams County and people, local people that we can send to school or send to the academies and get them working at the Sheriff's Department.
Thank you. Once again, Sean Cooley, folks. And our next question will go to Mr. Kenny Dick. Kenny, after your time as sheriff is over, what legacy would you like to leave behind? After your time as sheriff is over, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
I believe that the legacy that I'd like to leave behind is what the legacy that anybody would like to leave behind, and that he did his absolute best, that he was a man of honesty and integrity, and that he was always eager to help. That the legacy shows of a person is not who they are in public, but who they are in private. And with the character that a person has is what they're known by. So I hope my legacy would be at the Sheriff's Office that he was there for the people, that he stood strong for what he believed in, and that when he was done, that Adams County was a better place for not only for those who've lived there, but for the children to come up in our future. Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Kenny Dick. And our last person for this series of questions, Mr. Mike Estep. Mike, how would you ensure that your office stays up to date, evolves, and adapts to future changes? How would you ensure that your office stays up to date, evolves, and adapts to future changes?
Be willing to make sure everybody has the adequate training, keep them up to date with all the new laws that comes out, and try to keep up with, anything that revolves around the agency itself. And I think a lot of it is listen to the public there of the things that they have there to help us keep up to date on things.
Okay, thank you. Mike Estep. And now we'll take another quick break before we move to our last series of questions here on Good Guys Radio TV and C103. And while we do this, let me encourage you, if you know of someone that's not watching tonight or listening tonight, give them a call and go to goodguysradiotv.com, or of course go to your radio and C103, or you can go to Facebook, C103's Facebook page, or you can go to YouTube. Go to C103's YouTube channel. You can watch tonight's broadcast as well. We'll remind you again, if there's people that you might know that are working that are not able to watch tonight, you can watch immediately after. They can watch it tomorrow. They can watch next week. All they do, again, is go to Goodguysradiotv.com, Goodguysradiotv.com, and they can watch us at any time. And obviously, I think it's in everyone's best interest if you share this with everyone and give them the opportunity to make good decisions as to our future sheriff would be. We'll take a break now. We'll be right back after this on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
Hello, my name is Sean Cooley, Republican candidate for Adams County Sheriff. With over 40 years of law enforcement experience serving and protecting the citizens of Adams County, I will make it my top priority to make Adams County a safer community for your family and mine. One of my many goals is to combat the drug epidemic that is leading to the high crime rate throughout our county. With my experience and training, I know I'll make a difference. I'm asking for your support in the March 19th, 2024 primary. Thank you.
You've been listening to us for years.
Shot up by for three. It's up and in.
Now it's time to watch.
I can save!
Good Guys Radio TV is here with live video coverage of everything happening in our area. Local sports.
And this one is a hard shot out to left field.
Local events.
Hey, this is Braden hanging out with you.
It's all on Goodguysradiotv.com.
That's Goodguysradiotv.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Rebush. Currently, I'm second in charge at the Adams County Sheriff's Office. I have 50 years of experience in law enforcement. During my career with Cincinnati, I worked in all the highest crime neighborhoods, 16 years in various drug units, and 21 years as a supervisor. As sheriff, I will use my leadership experience to ensure Adams County is a safe place for your family and mine. Please vote Bob Rebush on March 19th, 2024. Paid for by Bob Rebush.
Hi, this is Donnie Edgington, Republican candidate for Adams County Sheriff in the March 2024 primary. As a lifelong resident of Adams County, I'm deeply rooted in the community, and I've worn the uniform of a law enforcement officer for well over 3 decades. I'm asking for your vote so that together we can bring about the changes to make Adams County a safer place. Safety isn't just a priority for me, it's a heartfelt commitment.
Paid for by a friend of Donnie Edgington.
Welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm Don Bowles, and you're listening to C103 and enjoying our broadcast on Good Guys Radio TV as well. Before we move to our next questions, our series questions, again, I want to encourage everyone, please go vote on the March 19th primary. All of the candidates that you're hearing here tonight are registered as Republicans. You can make a choice that effectively will choose our sheriff for the general election. There are no Democratic candidates at this point. It is possible, obviously, it could be a write-in candidate, but basically you're going to be choosing your sheriff at the primary. That would be on March 19th. Again, these are all 5 Republican candidates, and this is giving you the opportunity to make some good choices. Now, I've also been told that it is still time left that you can go register to vote. So if you're not registered, please do go register and vote. It's so valuable for you to do so. Now, this round, again, we will go through each candidate. We'll answer 2 different questions. We'll start this time with Mr. Donnie Edgington. Donnie, what changes in law enforcement do you foresee in the near future? What changes in law enforcement do you see in the near future?
One of the main things I see is we're getting into a situation, or not situation, we're in an era now with technology where the polygraphs I believe are going to be replaced with voice stress analyzers. They've had really good luck with those. We are going to have to get into a series of training exercises to where we can identify problems before they take place. And what I mean by that is, in law enforcement, you have to be diligent to go out and tackle the problems head on. The training that we receive, most of the training that I've received, is of responding to something that's already happened. So I believe that proactive enforcement, proactive patrols is what this is going to have to get to in this county, and not only in this county, but in law enforcement in general. The weaponry that we use today is adequate. However, I think we need to come up with better ways to equip the officers. And in law enforcement in general, we have to get back to where we are not ashamed to be a law enforcement officer. We need to be proud that we are a law enforcement officer and that we have the duty to take care of our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Donnie Edgington. Our next question goes again to Mr. Sean Cooley. Sean, what other qualities outside of law enforcement experience do you have that will make you an effective sheriff? What other qualities outside of law enforcement experience do you have that will make you an effective sheriff?
Well, Don, as I said before, I'm a small business owner, have been for several years. Being a small business owner, you have to learn to manage budgets. I think that's probably the biggest asset I have outside of law enforcement that would apply to the law enforcement position.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sean Cooley. Up next, Mr. Kenny Dick. Kenny, similar to many agencies across the country, the Adams County Sheriff's Office is understaffed. How do you plan to increase recruitment and emphasize employee retention? Once again, similar to many agencies across the country, the Adams County Sheriff's Office is understaffed. How do you plan to increase recruitment and emphasize employee retention?
I think one of the reasons that law enforcement recruitment is low is because of the price of the academy. So I think one plan is that as the sheriff of Adams County, we can start a program to where we would reimburse the person for their academy. In other words, whenever the person goes to the academy, the sheriff's office would pay for the academy. They would enter into a contract to where they would have to work so many years for the sheriff's office. That way, it helps both of them. This person gets to have the privilege of being a law enforcement officer, and the sheriff's office has the privilege of having a young man that serves with them, that stays with them. And then after so many years, after 5, 6 years, they understand what a great department this is. They understand what great men and women that they have the chance to work with. The prosecutor's office that is behind the law enforcement, that takes the cases, that helps them to close out these cases. So I think if we can work with them in the very beginning, let them know that we trust them, let them know that we have faith in them, that they will be the officers that fits in with the Adams County Sheriff's Office to make it a better department and to make those that work here proud of it.
Thank you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Dick. Now we'll welcome to the podium once again Mike Estep. Mike, what personal qualities and attributes do you feel are needed to make an effective leader? What personal qualities and attributes do you feel are needed to make an effective leader?
One, I would say not to expect anything out of your employees that you wouldn't do yourself. I think that you need to be the best role in showing them that you're willing to do it and you can do it and it's right to do it before you would expect them to do it. I'm not sure on anything top of my head here.
Okay.
So.
All right. Mr. Mike Estep, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Once again, Mr. Bob Rebush. Bob, tell us about your community involvement prior to announcing your candidacy, such as programs or organizations that you participate in. Tell us about your community involvement prior to announcing your candidacy, such as programs or organizations that you participate in.
Well, I'm a active member in our church. Our church, the first Wednesday of every month, has a food pantry where we give out food, prepared food. They're actually doing it tonight. I'm very proud of that. I'm a strong member of that church. I'm a very strong member of my community. I live up in the Wheat Ridge, Tater Ridge area. I help my neighbors whenever I can, and they reciprocate because I have some great neighbors. Other than that, those are the main things I do. I've always, whenever the sheriff has asked me to work, I've always been willing to do that to help the community. I've Other than this last year, for probably about 10 years, I've been a part-time special deputy. So anytime something major's come up and he's called and asked me to help, I'm always willing to do that. That's kind of the person I am. So mostly helping neighbors and helping my church.
Thank you. Once again, Bob Rebush. And now, before we begin our last series of questions, I'll remind everyone these questions were provided and prepared by the Adams County Fraternal Order of Police, who's made up by all the employees of the Adams County Sheriff's Office, through not only their own input, but the input of the constituents as well. We have one question each for each one of the candidates left, and then we'll have concluding statements. So next up, with his last question for the evening, is Mr. Donnie Edgington. Donnie, what sets you apart from your fellow candidates? What sets you apart from your fellow candidates?
I'm a lifelong resident of this county. I just celebrated my 61st birthday. I've been in the Winchester area for the past 5, almost 6 years. I married a lady from Peebles. I live in West Union. I grew up in Manchester. I know this county. I know every part of this county. I was trained by what I believe to be the best organization that you could possibly work for, and it was the Ohio State Highway Patrol. It taught me many things, not just about law enforcement, but about life, how to treat people, how to go about your day. You know, it was a proud time for me when I would walk into a restaurant and a gentleman would walk up to me and had a veteran's hat on, and he would say, "Hello, trooper." I have been in business. I know what it's like to work with budgets. I know what it's like to deal with the folks down here along the river, and there's differences between when you go to Walmsleyville, you go to Peebles, we are all Adams Countyans, but we all have our unique little things about us that, you know, I used to listen when I was in the academy. There wasn't a whole lot to do. I used to listen to a motivational speaker, and he said, "You're what you are and where you are because of what's gone into your mind." And everyone in this county, yes, we're Adams Countyans, but each individual area has its own set of values and how they were brought up and the things that are important to them. And I understand that. I understand this county, and I love this county. And I'd love to be the sheriff. I think I would do a wonderful job. I think everyone up here is very qualified. Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Donnie Edgington. Now, with his last question for the evening, Mr. Sean Cooley. Sean, tell us about your level of involvement in the law enforcement community of Adams County prior to you announcing your candidacy. Tell us about your level of involvement in the law enforcement community of Adams County prior to your announcing your candidacy.
Well, Don, as I said before, I have over 40 years of law enforcement. That's serving and protecting the citizens of Adams County. I was a former chief of police of the village of Manchester. I spent most of my career with the sheriff's department. So I have quite a long history in law enforcement.
Okay. Once again, thank you, Sean Cooley. Now, our next candidate up would be Mr. Kenny Dick. Kenny, would you like to share any particular career highlights? For example, a significant case or prosecution that you were involved with, or perhaps an incident that has stuck with you. Would you like to share any particular career highlights? For example, a significant case or prosecution that you were involved with, or perhaps an incident that has stuck with you.
As those of you know, I've been the main law enforcement investigator that handles crimes against children. And it's one of the most horrific crimes that can be committed when you take the innocence of a child. So to pick out one particular one, I don't think would be fair. Because when I talk to these children and I work with these children, the strength that they have to combat and to be able to talk about a horrific incident that happened to them is beyond belief. To have the strength to stand up and say, this person is not going to dictate who I am. It's not going to make me change the person that who I can be. And I'm always astonished at how they are able to come back. And it's a bond that sometimes you have with them, because there's been many times that after a case is closed, it may be 2 or 3 years later, and they'll come back to visit just to let you know that they graduated high school, or that they're having a child, or that, you know, they've been married. So I think that being able to be with these kids and to have their back, to be able just to say, we believe you and that we are going to stand behind you and we are going to hold those accountable for those who have done this to you, is the highlight of my career. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, Mr. Kenny Dick. Now for his final question, Mr. Mike Estep. Mike, this one's been up several times. How do you plan to retain employees? How do you plan to retain employees?
One, I would offer the best possible salaries that would be out there. Either one, by working through grants to maintain the recruitment and retention portion of it, working with the commissioners to try to show them the seriousness of how we're losing employees and why they're going elsewhere. And I think offering them the best equipment that possibly could give them to them during their time serving there. I think rewarding them as well as, you know, not only by accommodations, but maybe in bonus ways of different things that would be of value to them with something special during an incident or a case that they may have been involved in.
Thank you. Mr. Mike Estep. And now, with our final question for the evening for the candidates, it's Mr. Bob Rebush. Bob, what changes do you feel need to be made in our local law enforcement? What changes do you feel need to be made in our local law enforcement?
Well, I think as a whole, our department's very sound. I think that we can always improve it. I want to do that through training. I've budgeted $10,000 this year to send officers to different training. I think there's some new equipment coming out that would be very useful and make it a safer place for our officers. And specifically the bean, or not the beanbag, but the pepper ball guns. They may be of great value to us. Anyway, I think those are the main things.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Mr. Bob Rebush. This time we're going to take another break. Up next, each candidate will be given 3 minutes to have some closing remarks and once again ask you for their vote. Now, at this time, we'll take a break, though, and you're listening to Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
I'm Gina Collinsworth. I'm running for state representative because Southern Ohio needs a voice that will fight for us in Columbus. I will stand up for conservative values, stand up for life, protect the Second Amendment, and reduce taxes. We must fight liberal special interest and politicians that are making it harder for families to make a living and pay our bills. I'm Gina Collinsworth, Christian conservative, lifelong resident of Southern Ohio, and I'm asking for your vote on March 19th in the Republican primary, paid for by the committee to elect Gina Collinsworth.
For the past 25 years, my father, Kenny Dick, has put his heart and soul into protecting my family and yours in our local area. He has been a chief prosecuting investigator, Adams County deputy sheriff, and has been trained by the FBI Academy to prosecute the individuals who hurt the children of our community. Vote my dad
and my grandpa,
Kenny Dick, in the March 19th primary election.
Paid for by Elect Kenny Dick for Sheriff.
Elect Sam Purdon as Adams County Sheriff. Sam has spent 23 years in law enforcement, serving as a patrolman, chief of police for Peebles, as well as deputy, lieutenant, and detective for the Adams County Sheriff's Office. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan as an international police advisor and was honored to serve in the United States Navy Reserve. He now serves as a special deputy U.S. Marshal. Sam successfully owns and operates his own local business and plans to be a sheriff for the people.
This ad is paid for by candidate Sam Purdon.
Hello, my name is Sean Cooley, Republican candidate for Adams County Sheriff. With over 40 years of law enforcement experience serving and protecting the citizens of Adams County, I will make it my top priority to make Adams County a safer community for your family and mine. One of my many goals is to combat the drug epidemic that is leading to the high crime rate throughout our county. With my experience and training, I know I will make a difference. I'm asking for your support in the March 19th, 2024 primary. Thank you.
Welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, to C103 and Good Guys Radio TV. I'm Don Bowles, and again, you're watching and listening to our Meet the Candidates here from Manchester High School. It's the Adams County Sheriff's candidates. They're running for sheriff on March 19th, the primary election March 19th. Again, all 5 of the candidates that you're hearing from tonight are Republican, and all 5 of them are running, of course, in the primary on March 19th. At this time, we're going to change things up just a little bit, and each candidate will be given the opportunity to give a 3-minute, up to a 3-minute closing remarks and tell you how a little more about themselves if they wish, answer some other questions if they wish, and of course, give them the opportunity to ask you for their vote. Now, at this time, starting things off will be Mr. Sean Cooley.
Thank you. Like I said, I have over 40 years law enforcement, and that's serving and protecting the people of Adams County. Along with my wife, Suzanne, we've raised 4 children in Adams County and have 3 wonderful grandchildren. I would like to address a couple of the questions that was given to the other candidates. One is, what are we going to do about the drug problem? When I was a detective, I was assigned to the Federal Drug Task Force, along with the state BCI Drug Task Force. We were able to make some of the biggest drug buys in the history of Adams County. We need to start the drug unit back up at the Sheriff's Department. We need to team back up with these agencies, both state and federal, and work with our local law enforcement officers to try to combat this drug problem. Also, if elected sheriff, I'll bring back the Sheriff's Department Canine Patrol. The drugs that we're seeing nowadays on the street, which is heroin and fentanyl and things of that nature, is very easily concealable. You can hide these things on your person in a car, an officer's going to look right over it. As a prior canine handler, I know that these dogs can sniff these drugs out and they can pinpoint where they're located. Another thing that I want to address is the people walking around at night with backpacks that's stealing everything. If I'm elected sheriff, I'm going to put a team together of deputies that's main priority is to go out and address this problem. Also I'm going to put a team of deputies together that's going to address the B&Es and burglaries with a priority placed on returning the property. If we arrest somebody, for example, and they do 30 days in the county jail and you have $10,000 worth of property stolen, if it's not returned, having them put in jail is no good. We have to focus, and as a detective, I focused on getting the property returned to the rightful owner. Like I say, we're going to have to team with these federal and state drug task forces because we do not have the manpower right now to address this issue. The Sheriff's Department is at minimal staffing. When I was at the Sheriff's Department, we had 3 detectives working full-time, an evidence technician, 3 road deputies on the road. Now we just don't have that manpower, and that's one of the reasons we're going to have an aggressive recruiting program. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Mr. Sean Cooley. Now, with closing remarks, Mr. Kenny Dick.
Instead of using this time to reiterate my goals and ambitions if elected as Sheriff of Adams County, I'd like to take this opportunity to remind everyone how imperative it is to vote. Our founding fathers understood the importance of giving power to the government back to the people. And this is accomplished through the power of the vote. Our democracy, our republic, and our citizens coexist in a partnership, the uniqueness of which has transformed the world for nearly 250 years. This uniqueness stems from the dependence on each other and the mutual dependence on our Constitution. That is why this nation is the greatest nation in the world. Dwight D. Eisenhower said, "The future of this republic is in the hands of the American voter." Our brave men and women have fought and oftentimes paid the ultimate sacrifice to give us this right to vote. Voting is the expression of our commitment to ourselves, to one another, our community, and this country. Voting ensures equality in our country. It doesn't matter if you live in a house on Beverly Hills or if you're homeless on the streets of Cincinnati. Each person's vote has the same weight and importance. The right to vote is the basic right without which all others are meaningless. It gives people as individuals, control over their own destinies. So on March 19th, you have the opportunity to play a role in shaping our community and our government. So let's use it. I think Abraham Lincoln said it best when he said, "Elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their back on the fire and burn their behinds, then they will just have to sit on their blisters." I want to thank the FOP for sponsoring this forum. I want to thank Mr. Don Bowles for the wonderful job you've done, moderator. And my name is Kenny Dick, and I humbly ask for your support and vote to be sheriff. And I thank you for the privilege of your time. Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kenny Dick. And now, concluding remarks from Mike Estep.
I would like to say I would be one to work for grants for the agency to make the agency better. In 23 years as a fire chief, I have obtained over $2.5 million in grants, either by assisting or obtaining those on my own. $500,000 nearly was that for the Adams County Sheriff's Office, which was in the 911 Communication Center and the Road Patrol Division and employees for recruitment and retention. I would also be willing to establish a K-9 unit and work with the local task forces that surrounds Adams County. I also would like to look at maybe creating a work program through the Adams County Jail, such as Clark County, Ohio, created back in the 1980s. It's a day-for-day sentencing thing. You work a day, you get a day off your sentencing. They built a whole addition onto the Clark County Sheriff's Office with the labor of the inmates. I would like to be able to give this opportunity to give back to the people of Adams County. And hopefully, before that they would be discharged from the jail facility, that they would have a GED and also work on a job placement for those individuals. And if any kind of other treatment would be necessary, such as drug treatment or mental health treatment while they're in the facility, they would be able to obtain that as well. I would like to really work hard to get either grants to hire more additional deputies for the sheriff's office, also along with any kind of funding could be available to keep the people here. I've been born and raised here in this county. I've spent my career in Adams County in the fire service and law enforcement, and they're not out there like Donnie was talking earlier. Everybody, you know, and Sean, they go for all the other counties around us to pick up people to try to bring here to make our staffing. So we do need to work hard in keeping the people that we have and to get more local people that live amongst us. Thank you.
Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Estep. And now, for closing remarks, Mr. Bob Rebush.
For 58 years now, Adams County has been a very important part of my life. It was my grandfather's dream to build a farm here, build a farm. In '95, I took over that dream, and I moved my family out here. My daughter lives here. My grandkids live here. So I'll always work hard to make this the best place for your family and mine. And I think one of the most important qualities that the next sheriff should have is supervisory experience. And I'd like to say I believe I have the most supervisory experience. I have the most experience in law enforcement, and I have the most experience in drug enforcement. So I think I'm the best candidate. I've also been sitting at the right hand of Sheriff Rogers for the last year, and he's been teaching me the position. I love Adams County, and I'll do everything possible to make it a great place for everyone. Thank you. I'd appreciate it if you join me on Facebook. You'll see a lot more about me. Thanks.
Thank you. Again, Bob Rebush. Now, with closing remarks, Mr. Donnie Edgington.
When I made my decision that I was going to run for sheriff of this county, I contacted our commissioners and I said, tell me, is there no money? The answer I got was, come to us with a plan, with a vision. We'll work with getting the money. As I said before earlier in the evening, I do feel very strongly that we need to have an academy here in this county. We need to home grow our own officers. We need people out. Right now we have an average age, I think it's like 50 years old, is our average age of a law enforcement officer in this county. We have 17 officers working full-time. That includes the sheriff deputies and the villages all combined. Now I want to thank the Fraternal Order Police for putting us on. And the questions tonight, good questions, but they've all kind of been centered around the Sheriff's Department itself. I want to talk a little bit about safety for this county. I do agree with the Republican and former President Donald Trump's belief that we need to secure our southern border. We have borders right here in this county that we need to secure ourselves. We're having people dropped off here. The Go Bus makes 4 stops a day, 7 days a week in this county. The Ohio River is being made a traffic way to get drugs up and down the river. I experienced that when I worked for the Ohio State Highway Patrol. We have 24 miles of State Route 32 at the north end of the county, and that allows for drug trafficking, human trafficking. My main focus is going to be equipping the Adams County Sheriff's Department with the personnel and the equipment that we need to go out and be proactive to better help the citizens of this county feel safe, be happy that they are in Adams County. We have a great county. We have a lot of wonderful people. We have dedicated law enforcement officers. They are worked to death right now, and we need to get some young blood in. I ask for your vote. Together, we can make this county a wonderful place. Not that it isn't already, but safety for me isn't just about providing it now. It's in the future also.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Donnie Edgington. That brings us to the conclusion of our event. I want to thank everyone for participating, all 5 candidates. Again, they're all registered Republicans. They're running under the Republican ticket on March 19th in the primary. I want to thanks to Manchester High School for providing our venue, including our Superintendent Nick Roberts, Principal Tim Davis, and Assistant Principal Aaron Lockhart, and staff. Thank our sponsors, the people who make it possible for us to be here. And, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the Adams County Fraternal Order Police for organizing this and providing us with questions. I want to remind everybody, you can still register to vote. Please vote March 19th. Make your choices known and choose the candidate of your choice to lead the Sheriff's Department going forward in Adams County. Let me remind you, the candidates that participated tonight, we appreciated all of them and their participation. Mr. Kenny Dick, Mr. Mike Estep, Bob Rebush, Donnie Edgington, and Sean Cooley. Thank you very much for everyone that watched and listened tonight. Remember, again, you can share this with other people. They can listen to it on their own, or they can watch it on Good Guys Radio TV at their leisure. Just go to goodguysradiotv.com. Again, we appreciate your time, and again, make good choices and go out and vote. I'm Don Bowles, wishing you a pleasant good evening here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV.
Hi, I'm Bob Rebush. Currently, I'm second in charge at the Adams County Sheriff's Office. I have 50 years of experience in law enforcement. During my career with Cincinnati, I worked in all the highest crime neighborhoods, 16 years in various drug units, and 21 years as a supervisor. As sheriff, I will use my leadership experience to ensure Adams County is a safe place for your family and mine. Please vote Bob Rebush on March 19th, 2024. Paid for by Bob Rebush.
Hi, this is Donnie Edgington, Republican candidate for Adams County Sheriff in the March 2024 primary. As a lifelong resident of Adams County, I'm deeply rooted in the community, and I've worn the uniform of a law enforcement officer for well over 3 decades. I'm asking for your vote so that together we can bring about the changes to make Adams County a safer place. Safety isn't just a priority for me, it's a heartfelt commitment.
Paid for by a friend of Donnie Edgington.
I'm Gina Collinsworth. I'm running for state representative because Southern Ohio needs a voice that will fight for us in Columbus. I will stand up for conservative values, stand up for life, protect the Second Amendment, and reduce taxes. We must fight liberal special interest and politicians that are making it harder for families to make a living and pay our bills. I'm Gina Collinsworth, Christian conservative, lifelong resident of Southern Ohio, and I'm asking for your vote on March 19th in the Republican primary. Paid for by the committee to elect Gina Collinsworth.
For the past 25 years, my father, Kenny Dick, has put his heart and soul into protecting my family and yours in our local area. He has been a chief prosecuting investigator, Adams County deputy sheriff, and has been trained by the FBI Academy to prosecute the individuals who hurt the children of our community. Vote my dad
And my grandpa.
Kenny Dick in the March 19th primary election.
Paid for by Elect Kenny Dick for Sheriff.
Elect Sam Purdon as Adams County Sheriff. Sam has spent 23 years in law enforcement, serving as a patrolman, chief of police for Peebles, as well as deputy, lieutenant, and detective for the Adams County Sheriff's Office. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan as an international police advisor and was honored to serve in the United States Navy Reserve. He now serves as a special deputy U.S. Marshal. Sam successfully owns and operates his own local business and plans to be a sheriff for the people.
This ad is paid for by candidate Sam Purdon.
Hello, my name is Sean Cooley, Republican candidate for Adams County Sheriff. With over 40 years of law enforcement experience serving and protecting the citizens of Adams County, I will make it my top priority to make Adams County a safer community for your family and mine. One of my many goals is to combat the drug epidemic that is leading to the high crime rate throughout our county. With my experience and training, I know I'll make a difference. I'm asking for your support in the March 19th, 2024 primary. Thank you.